Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Nathan and today I'm finally going to do my updated 2021 NHL mock draft and top 15 prospect rankings. Now I did a 2021 NHL prospect rankings a few months back, and even though I did it in January, now in June it is heavily outdated, and a lot of you guys have requested me to do an updated 2021 mock draft, so here we go, now expanding to the top 15 of the upcoming 2021 NHL entry draft. So, which prospects do I see as the best for the 2021 draft, and which prospects make my top 15 prospect rankings? Watch till the end for all my rankings and picks, and of course, hit that big red subscribe button for more videos just like this one. Now, before I get into my 15th best prospect for the 2020 draft, it needs to be said this 2021 draft is extremely divisive because there are so many great prospects that deserve to be in the top 15 and the top 20 that just won't get enough credit. I mean, we see it in the first overall spot. Otto Radu is the consensus first overall pick for a lot of people, but that is probably going to change going into next season because there's a lot of other prospects that could rival for him. Not just that first overall spot though, there is so many prospects that I consider for this top 15 that just were not in here. It is an extremely even draft class, so throughout the next year in 2021, it's going to be one that nobody's going to be able to predict because there's so many great prospects that are on a pretty even playing field. So even though I did narrow it down to 15 prospects, it was not that easy. But now we can get into my top 15 for the 2021 NHL draft. And coming in number 15, I have Canadian center Kohl Cylinder. Now, the 6-foot forward who just turned 17 in May had a brilliant WHL season. When he was healthy, he got 53 points in 48 games, being 4th in team scoring for the Medicine Hat Tigers, and was just great overall. His 1.22 points per game was the best by any U17 WHL player since 1990, so it certainly was pretty accomplishments there. And when it comes to Cylinder, the offensive ceiling is definitely there. Great overall offensive toolbox with the skating, with the puck skills, solid shot and great awareness. That's a guy who I think could become a top 6 NHL player if it develops right. The defense is a weakness, but the offense is certainly there. Now going on to my 14th best prospect in the 2021 NHL draft, I have QMJHLer Zachary LaRue. Now LaRue is a very interesting prospect. This year the QMJHL got 53 points, 20 goals, 33 assists in 55 games. For the Moncton Wildcats, was 5th in team scoring. And when it comes to LaRue, there isn't one thing that absolutely stands out besides his physical play. That's a guy that is always rugged on the ice, always on the edge, but always using his body in a right way. Being a center, being 5'11", he is on the shorter size, but definitely does pack a punch. To me, LaRue doesn't have the high upside that some other prospects have, but that's not really a knock against him, since his overall game and the physical play he brings could produce a pretty solid two-way forward. Now, you'll notice throughout this draft class that there is some amazing names, and coming in number 13, a great example of that is Canadian defenseman Owen Power. And yes, his name is Owen Power. Absolutely brilliant. So when it comes to Owen Power, obviously pretty good defenseman. In the USHL this year with the Chicago Steel, got 45 games played in, 12 goals, 28 assists for 40 points, and was first in D-men scoring on a pretty stacked team, and that was because of a 17-year-old. He was that young on a great team there, really leading the way. Owen Power is a guy that I think can go a little bit overrated, but he is 6'5", has great size, and has the potential to really do everything. Nothing that stands out completely, but the offense, the defense, the physical play can wrap up into a pretty complete package. But now going on to my 12th best prospect for the 2021 NHL draft, and this is the first American in this list, going to left winger Sasha Pastrnak. Now, Pastrnak, another fantastic name, is a guy that I am very high on, coming in at number 12 in the U17 US Development Program. Got 49 games, but 14 goals, 36 assists for 50 points overall. Pastrnak is a supreme playmaker. That is his bread and butter. But although he's an amazing awareness guy when it comes to passing and making those passes click, he's also a pretty good offensive mind when it comes to getting goals in as well. He's a pretty complete offensive player and a guy who I think will dominate the USDP next season. Now going on to my 11th best prospect in the 2021 NHL draft and going to another American, that being Matthew Beniers. Now Beniers is a guy that I've liked for a very long time, and although he has slipped, it's mostly because other prospects have just kind of caught up to him. Because Beniers a couple of years ago was one of the most far-long and complete prospects in the 2021 draft. For this year though, in the U18 USDP, he played 44 games, getting 18 goals, 23 assists for 41 points, and was one of the main, if not the main player offensively for that team as a 17-year-old. And to me, that is still super impressive. We'll have to wait to see what he does with all the other age groups now going against him and now catching up to him. But Beniers is a guy who provides some excellent overall value, even if the skating might need some work. Now going on to the number 1 goaltender in this draft, and the guy that I am very high on. Going to my 10th best prospect in the 2021 draft, I have Swedish goalie Jesper Wallstedt. Now Wallstedt is a fantastic goalie prospect who can rival Yaroslav Askarov as one of the best prospects we've seen in the past couple of decades. Wallstedt is a guy that is just brilliant overall. In the Super Elite League at a 17/16-year-old rate, he played 28 games, getting a .923 save percentage, which for in the Swedish Junior League is super impressive at his age. That's a guy that will pretty much be a full-time SHLer next season, and we'll see if he sinks or swims. And yeah, just letting you know, he'll probably swim. Just saying. Now coming in at my 9th spot for the 2021 NHL Draft, I have American defenseman Aidan Reshik. Now Reshik is a fantastic overall offensive D-man that was great in the U17 USDP this year. 49 games played, 4 goals, 20 assists, 24 points, which was pretty similar to what Luke Hughes is putting, even though Luke Hughes did have a higher point per game. Reshik is a guy that I see kind of going underrated as a guy that just has a lot of offensive ability as well. 5'11", 181 pounds, isn't the biggest guy in the world, but the offense, the overall game, is very solid in his end. Now going on to my 8th best prospect in the 2021 draft, and the guy that I've been able to watch a lot more and I've been liking a lot more, that being Swedish left winger Fabian Lysell. Now Lysell is a guy that offensively I think has the potential to be one of the best in this draft. 17-year-old Swedish right or left winger at 5'10", but in the Super Elite League this year was pretty solid, played 11 games, 1 goal, 5 assists for 6 points, but in the Junior 18 Elite League in Sweden was just absolutely dominant. Played 14 games and got 34 assists, and some of that as well was as a 16-year-old in a U18 league. So certainly great stats there, but his offensive game is very solid, great shot, great overall ability, and a guy that is one of the flashiest players, especially to come out of this draft. Now going on to my 7th best prospect in the 2020 draft, my second and final USA defenseman in this top 15, I have the last of the Hughes brothers, that being Luke Hughes. Now still being 16, won't turn 17 until September, had a brilliant USDP campaign in the U17 USDP, played 48 games and got 28 points, and again, this being a 16-year-old through all of this season. Luke Hughes is a guy that just has all the potential in the world, has amazing awareness, is brilliant gap control wise, and although defensively there is some things to work on, the offensive game is brilliant. His skating is absolutely insane, just like his oldest brother, Quinn Hughes. Now going on to my 6th best prospect in the 2020 draft and going to another defenseman, that being Canadian D-man Carson Lambos. Now Lambos is a guy that is just brilliant at defense, and that is really his bread and butter, but even with that defensive regimen, he still is fantastic at offense. In the WHL with the Winnipeg Ice this season, got 57 games played and 32 points, which was first in D-men scoring on a pretty decent Ice team. And Lambos is a guy that, again, although is supreme defensively, can provide a lot of offense there too. He is still 17, doesn't turn 18 until January 2021, 6'1", big guy, and a guy that I think can do everything, especially if those offensive skills do get cranked up a notch. Now going into the top 5 and coming at number 5 in my 2021 NHL draft, one of the biggest risers of the last ranking, that being Canadian forward Kent Johnson. Kent Johnson is a guy that I've started to really fall in love with over the past few months. I already started to love him a little bit in January, but now I'm fully on the hype train. A guy that I just got to see a little bit more of and just absolutely love his game. 6'1" center who in the BCHL just tore it up. 52 games played and 101 points. Almost a 2 point per game. And those stats are comparable to Alex Newhook, except Kent Johnson is a year before his draft year putting up those stats. He'll go to the NCAA for Michigan, and I'm personally hoping he tears it up because the talent he has is through the roof. Now getting into my fourth best prospect for the 2021 draft, and in my opinion the best American in this draft, that being American center Chazz Lucius. Being one of the best names in the draft as well alongside Owen Power, Lucius just brings it all offensively. Is a guy that was brilliant in the U17 USTP, 50 points, 31 goals, 19 assists for 46 points. And although Pisujov is a supreme playmaker, Chazz Lucius is a guy that can score, assist, do everything for you offensively. His shot is absolutely amazing. His skating is very fluid, and although not explosive like some others, definitely does the job. And his awareness, his puck skills, his everything offensively makes me to believe that he'll be a top 5 pick in this draft, even if this top 5 and top 10 or top 15 might be extremely fluid. That's a guy that I personally am going to bet on. Oh, and not to mention that Chazz Lucius was playing basketball until age 8 and then decided to play hockey at age 8 and is already this good at the thing. So, in my opinion, Chazz is an absolute rock star. Now going on to my third spot in the 2021 NHL draft, and if you thought I liked Chazz, I definitely do. But this next guy is a guy that I love a lot as well, that being Canadian left winger Dylan Guenther. Now Dylan Guenther is a guy that was one of the most impressive players throughout this season. In the WHL, got 59 points in 58 games, being third in team scoring for the Edmonton Oil Kings, and is a guy that I think just possesses all of the puck skills, all the offensive talent that you'd want in a WHL first overall pick. Still 17, doesn't until 18 until April 2021. And is a guy that just has everything. 6'1", 170 pounds, great size, great skill, and a guy that combined with his amazing skating, again, I think has everything. The defense, awareness-wise, might be an issue, but with how many goals he's scoring on the other end and how many plays he's making up, that's a player that I want to have on my team 100%. Now going into my second best prospect in the 2021 draft, and one of the biggest competitors for that first overall pick, I have Canadian defenseman Brant Clark. Now Brant Clark is a guy that there is a lot to love with his game. In the OHL, got 38 points in 57 games with the Barrie Colts, and was first in D-men scoring as a 17-year-old, which is not easy to do in the OHL. But when it comes to Clark, he said himself that he is modeling his game after Erik Karlsson, and you guys know how much I love Erik Karlsson, so that definitely warmed my heart to see. So when it comes to Brant Clark, although the defense can use some tweaking because he was a forward until like age 12 or something, that's still a guy that the offensive skill he has is almost too tantalizing to miss in that top 2. Now going into still, in my opinion, the best prospect for the 2021 NHL draft, and although this might change and it is super fluid, at number 1, I have Otto Radu. The Finnish center is a guy who I personally really love to watch. You guys know how much I love Anton Lundell, and Radu is a guy who is pretty similar in ways, although I think having a lot more offensive potential. The 17-year-old was just great in both the Liga and the Junior A SM Liga. In the Junior A Liga, he got 21 points in 30 games, which for a 17-year-old is vastly impressive, and was able to play 12 games as well in Liga. 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points, and did not look bad whatsoever. Also played in the U20 World Juniors this year for Finland, and got 3 points in 7 games. Although it is super close between him and Clarke and Gunther and all these other guys, that's still a player that you combine the defensive regimen that he has, the smarts that he has, with the pure amazing offensive potential. That's a guy who I think can be a first-line center in the NHL if developed right. And I'm hoping it does end up happening because Radu is a guy who I personally want to see go first overall. But those are my rankings for the 2021 NHL Draft. Thanks so much for watching, boys. I love y'all so much. If you guys are watching this and haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for more videos just like this one. Let me know down in the comments down below what you think of my rankings. What do you agree and disagree with? And who do you see as the top prospects in 2021? Of course, with this video, share it with your friends. Get it out there, boys. And click on this card for all my 2020 NHL Draft Talk right on playlist. My name is Nathan, and I'll see you guys next video or stream. Goodbye.